What if your next job offer wasn't just a salary bump, but a life-altering wealth event? And what if I told you the wealthiest people in tech didn't get rich by launching a startup or investing in crypto, but by mastering one simple strategy: trading time and talent for equity? Hello, I'm Christopher Nelson, and I have built 6 million in wealth working for equity compensation. This has allowed me to retire early, travel the world, and spend quality time with my sons. If you work in tech and there's equity compensation on the table, this may be the most important mindset shift that you're ever going to make. I want to talk about why equity and not salary is your most valuable asset. So you work for a technology company. Are you thinking like a founder, or are you thinking like an employee? There's a lot of people that are still stuck in the "I'm trading my time for money" mindset. That's not thinking like a founder. A founder or a business owner is thinking about equity. So let's definition check. What is equity? Equity is when you own a piece of the company. You have fractional ownership in the company that you work for. I know plenty of product managers, senior software engineers that were not founders, but they negotiated well for pieces of the company. They worked over their vesting period. The company increased in value, and they walked away with high 6, 7, and even 8 figures off the table. This is a lot more common than you'd think. Let me break it down for you. Building wealth, building real wealth, is done through the acquisition of assets, things that you own, businesses, companies, shares in companies, movie rights, books, online courses, these things that grow in value over time. If you have ownership in them, that is going to allow you to build real wealth. This is the premise of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he describes the poor as the people that are trading their time for money. Anybody who is an employee, that's his quadrant one, somebody who's trading their time for money. And even if you're a consultant, you don't have a boss, but you're trading time for money, you're still labeled as the poor. When he talks about the rich, the wealthy, they're the business owner, or they're also the people who own assets. It's so important that you understand this framework and the fact that owning these assets are going to help you build real wealth over time. So, how do you build wealth? How do you acquire these assets? There's 3 ways to do it, and I'm going to break down all of these for you right now. So, way number 1 is you can build it. You can start your own company. It's common in tech to be a startup founder, right? You get to be the visionary. You get to be the one taking all the risks. Now, the downside to that is you are taking a lot of risk. It takes a lot of time to build the value in your company, to figure out the product. And at the same time, you could be putting a lot of your personal wealth at risk investing in this company or the money of others. The second way to do it is you could buy assets. You can buy shares. You can buy fractional ownership. This is where most people get started, is by buying stocks in valuable companies. It's easy to go and get a share of one of the Magnificent Seven, get some Netflix, some Amazon, some Google into your portfolio. The downside is that there's a constraint. You're going to be constrained by the money that you have right now to go buy those assets. It's also going to take time to build up. And like anything else in investing, you are taking risk. The third way to do it that nobody's talking about is you can trade your time and talent for equity in technology companies. This has been the way that more millionaires have been minted in the last 2 decades than anything else in the United States, is through tech equity, through the rapid growth of technology companies and the desire to attract and retain talent. Equity compensation has allowed the quiet millionaire to emerge. Now, many of us, when we actually think of tech millionaires, it's easy to think about Jeff Bezos, you think about Bill Gates, you think about Elon Musk, these high risk-taking founders. In the same conversation, you're also going to hear mentioned Tim Cook of Apple, Satya Nadella at Microsoft, Sundar Pichai at Google, or Frank Slootman at Snowflake. All of those CEOs and executives have hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars worth of wealth. And the common thread between all of them, none of them are founders. None of them are founders. They understood how to trade their talent for equity in very valuable companies and slowly become these quiet millionaires who now everybody knows. You can do the same if you understand the rules of the game of how to trade your time and talent for tech equity. To play to win, you need to know the rules of the game. To understand the rules of equity compensation, you need to understand clearly its purpose. The purpose of equity compensation is to attract and retain the best talent for these hyper growth technology companies. The practice started back in the late 50s and early 60s to attract talent to the West Coast semiconductor companies from prestigious colleges on the East Coast. They knew that to get these people unsettled to move across the country, they had to give them something of significance. And so what that was shares of ownership in the companies that they were working in. This practice has continued to this day. So when you think about the game board and you think about the players, this is an exchange. It's an exchange of time and talent for equity. And the players that you have on the board are you, the employee that is showing up with the talent. And then on the other side of the board, you have the company that has the equity, the shares of ownership that it's willing to trade for it. Both sides sit at the table and they negotiate for both of them to display their value and work to get an agreement done. So now the table is set. You, the employer, on one side, the company is on the other side. How do you negotiate to win? How do you play this game successfully of trading your time and talent for equity compensation? Well, it's important to understand what each side wants. Technology companies need talent to be able to continue to achieve their goals of hyper growth year over year, quarter over quarter. So they're going to be looking to hire people who can demonstrate results, are clear in their execution, and also have great experience, who've been there and done that before. Their goal is to attract that type of talent and retain it. And what they have to offer is salary, bonus, and equity, shares in the company. For you, the employee sitting on the other side, what do you have? Well, you have a set of skills. If you're just coming out of college, you have skills and maybe not a lot of experience. If you're somebody early or mid-career, not only do you have skills, but you have experience, you also have results that you can talk about. What have you done in your career that helps impact the company or department's goals? Both of these players are going to sit at both sides of the table, and they're going to have a conversation and negotiation for each. It's important that you understand that your role is to be able to display and articulate your results as something that is rare and valuable to the company, or as something that you're a proven bet, that it's something that they clearly want to invest in. The more that you can show that you're rare and valuable, maybe you're somebody who has some deep AI experience in this age where everybody needs these AI skills, or it's clarity on how you've consistently delivered results to hyper-growth companies so you're a safe and a sure bet. This type of negotiation is going to then create confidence in the company that they should invest in you and potentially invest heavily. For yourself, you want to look at the company and understand, what is its growth trajectory? In what direction is it heading? For you to play to win, you need to make sure that you're trading your time and talent for some valuable equity in a company that is growing and is also going to have some liquid shares at some point in the future. By understanding both parties' motivations, you're then going to understand how do you need to negotiate in the middle so that you can play to win. This isn't a salary chat. This is a business deal. So let me show you how you walk through the 4 steps of negotiation. Number 1, phase 1, common interest. You see a job, you see a company that you're interested in, you apply. You're interested in working for that company. You're interested in that role that they have open. When the company then responds to you, that's when it's obvious that they are interested in you. You're showing common interest. The next phase is presentation. You're going to present your resume. You may actually do some type of interviews. You're going to present your skills, your results, and your experience to the company. At the same time, this is also when they should be presenting to you. What do they have to offer in the terms of the role? What are they also offering in terms of the value of their company? It's so important that you, in this presentation stage, you are clear on what you want them to present to you so that you can evaluate the value of the company as well. Phase three is then when you get to the negotiation. This is where the deal really happens, where you have been through the presentation, they understand what you bring to the table, you understand the value that they have. It's here where you really sit down and you want to be able to negotiate for your equity grant. You may also be negotiating for your vesting schedule. That's what more people are doing today. You're also going to be negotiating where your salary lands inside of a band. Don't go in cold. It is so important that you understand your value to the market when you're coming to the negotiating table, because you can only get what you're worth if you know your value. So come to that prepared. Also understand what you believe is the value of their equity. Have an idea to that so that you can be marking that to market as well when you are looking at common equity packages that are available online at places like levels.fyi. You can easily go and peg, hey, I think the value of my equity package needs to be X because I'm seeing this all over for people at my particular level. Phase four, this is the final, this is agreement. This is when you're coming to sign the actual contracts. So when you are finalizing this deal, there's going to be two contracts that you're looking at. One is the salary agreement, right? Which is your offer letter. So in your offer letter, it is going to outline the salary, the bonus, and then also what is the high level equity shares that you're going to receive. It's going to be complemented by the stock agreement. The stock agreement is the contract that says what type of shares you're going to be getting, when you're going to be getting them, and what are all the provisions around it. It's so important that you understand your vesting schedule. What are your trading rights? When and how can you trade around it? And then also understanding voting rights. What type of shares do you have? And I think the fourth thing to really understand is clawbacks. When and where can the company claw back these shares, and what are the reasons? Remember, you are trading your valuable time and talent for equity, so it's important that you understand what's written into those contracts so that you can make sure and secure your value for all the hard work that you've done. Now, many people ask me, okay, so at this point, now that I understand the players, I understand the rules of the game and how the negotiation is going to go down, what are some of the biggest things I can do to escalate my value? And then also, how do I make sure I don't make some of the biggest mistakes ever? Let me jump into that. If you want more equity when you're in these negotiations, you need to be able to prove yourself as rare and or valuable. Rare is where you're able to display some type of attribute, some type of skill, some type of experience that isn't common, that people don't have. I know for myself, one of the key things that I focused on was having experience with SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley audit around business application systems going through IPOs. A lot of people didn't have that experience. So when I was able to clearly articulate that on my resume, all of the companies that were preparing for an IPO were very interested in that because that was something that they would have to manage as well. So for you, it's understanding what is valued, what is needed in the market. The next thing is valuable. As I mentioned before, as we all know, hyper growth companies need talent. They need leadership. They need innovation. They need disruption. They also need people that can manage and take care of themselves through these long periods of growth. So you need to be able to demonstrate your results. So one of the things that's really important is that you're not able to articulate what you did, but it's the so what. So what is the impact of your particular project? If you created a new product, how was that received by the customers? And did that improve their relationship with the product? Were they more inclined to buy it? Were they more excited about it or not? The same thing if you're in customer success. What were some of the things that you rolled out that improved, whether it was your department, the team, or was it the customers as well? Being able to articulate what you did and how it impacted company, department, or personal goals is so important. Once you're able to do that, you know that you can sit on your side of the negotiating table confidently and articulate your value in terms of results. So the pro tip here is document your results, track your impact, make sure that you're able to share those in interviews in a way that resonates with people. The better the proof, the better is going to be your outcome and what you can actually win at the negotiating table. People ask, where can I get it wrong? Many people chase fool's gold. What I mean by that is they obsess over the amount of equity, but they don't focus on what company they're getting this equity in. Too many tech professionals chase equity from private companies, not knowing that when and where that equity is going to become liquid or when it's going to actually get a value, versus looking at public companies. The reality is that the real wealth is gained inside of public technology companies. Why? Because public technology company equity is liquid. There is a determined value that you can see floating on the market. And it's also, you can also see and understand whether that's growing in value. You can see a financial history, get some reports, and understand what's happening with that. While it's not as sexy as the startup story, what I have seen is that many people are becoming slow millionaires over time by consistently working for larger public technology companies that are consistently giving them equity compensation month over month and year over year. The other thing that amazes me is that people will pass on amazing offers from public technology companies to go work for these very skeptical early stage startups with the promise of this future money that may not even exist. What you need to do is make sure that you are taking clear equity off the table that has a real value that is liquid today. Then once you build up, a few $1,000,000 of net worth, if you want to take more risk, then that's obviously available to you. So my advice to you, and the pro tip here is, don't trade your time and talent for fantasy stock. What you need to be clear on is whatever company, public or private, that you're working for, is the company financially healthy, right? Is there a real path to liquidity if it is a private company? Do I understand how and when I can actually turn this paper into income is so important if you are going to work for a private company. For other companies, you want to look at key things like leadership, product market fit, is sales continuing to hit their number? All of the core fundamentals that would be the same thing you would look at if you're investing in a stock. It's so important that when you are trading your time and talent for equity, you are looking for valuable companies to get ownership in. If you want to learn more of how do you actually evaluate public companies to trade your time and talent in, go to episode 65 that I did with Brian Feroldi, where I combined with a stock picker to really understand how do you technically evaluate the underlying financials in companies the same way you would invest with money, you invest your time and talent. Or if you want to understand my personal thesis, you can go to episode 66. That was where I broke down my strategy that I went 3 for 4. So out of 4 companies that I worked for, 3 of them went through IPO. And it was my strategy of how I picked pre-IPO companies to go to work for and to trade time and talent for as well. To win at this game of trading your time and talent for equity, you need to remember that you're not just the employee, but you are the asset. Stop thinking like a job seeker. Stop thinking like somebody who is just looking for a salary. See yourself and know yourself. Know your value in the marketplace so that you can trade it for what you're truly worth. This is what the people that are thinking like money managers are really doing. This is the transition of how you move from money maker to money manager and start building your wealth and moving it forward when you see different ways to actually build equity through company ownership. This is the story of the new wealth. This is the story of the new generation of millionaires that is building wealth through tech equity. At Managing Tech Millions, we want to show you systems and frameworks and give you real education that shows you not just how to trade your time for a paycheck, but how do you build real wealth. If you like this video, please hit subscribe. And if you want to sign up for our newsletter, go to managingtechmillions.com on Substack and just hit subscribe. All right, thank you so much.